Hey guys, this is Lex. I'm coming at you with another video. This video is going to be about how slavery never really ended. So, once again, just minding my business, right? And I see this video and it's like, talking about something. So, let me go research that a little bit more. So, I go to research it. And it's slavery, modern day slavery. And it's basically talking about how the prison system is still enslaving people. Oh, my bad. The prison system is still enslaving people. Ooh, I then made a boo-boo. So, and it basically talks about slavery never ended. So the 13th Amendment, which is the thing that forbids... Did I break something? The 13th Amendment is the thing that abolished slavery, basically. So the amendment states that forbids slavery and involuntary servitude, except as punishment for crimes whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. So the prison system has in the United States has over 2 million prisoners. And it's largely being private. So companies are buying prisons. Black inmates and Spanish inmates and some white inmates are going there and they're working for nearly nothing. And these companies are making billions of dollars and saving money and barely paying labor anything. So it's like, how does this happen? When World War II ended, basically, and all these slaves are now free to roam around, guess what increased? The prison population increased. And then it started in the South. They had all these slaves, same thing. All these free black men that they arrested for whistling at white women, looking suspicious, gave them 25 years of life, and now they're out there working the cotton field again. So what the hell happened? And I know you're saying the 13th Amendment says that all men are free and shouldn't have to work. However, let me say this again. So no one should be forced to work except as punishment for crimes whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. That exists in the United States. Are you seriously? Simply put, incarcerated persons have no constitutional rights in this area. They can be forced to work as punishment for their crimes. I know you're thinking, hey, that's the rapists and them work. They shouldn't even have the right to work. First of all, half the people in prison that are black in America are under the age of 30 years old, and they're in jail for a non-violent crime, meaning that I have 5 dime bags of weed on me. Now I'm in jail for 25 years. I'm in jail for 10 years. I went to jail at 15, 17, 18, 19. So convict leasing is cheaper than slavery. Do you believe that shit? Because you don't have to care about their health. If they die, you're going to always get another one. So hey, at least the slave owners have to feed and keep their slaves in some kind of good health. Keep them working on their plantation because it's expensive to buy a slave. But a convict is free. So it's better. It's like, hey, I make $1 billion and I pay this man as little as 2 cents a day. 2 cents an hour sometimes, or 10 cents a day. Isn't that crazy? Prison labor camps grew right after the Civil War, and a lot of southern states established large prisons throughout the region, and they quickly filled. I wonder how that feels. Primarily with what? Let's say it, black men. Many of these prisons has very recently been slave plantations. So it's this prison in Angelo in Mississippi State Penitentiary known as the Parchman Farm. They have white prison guards on horses with shotguns and black inmates in the field working crops. What does that sound like to you? You take a moment and you think about that. And then other prisons in the area started doing something called convict leasing because it's cheaper. So they will lease their prisoners to them for a fee. Get in the bus, guys, you're going to work. And do these guys have a choice? No. After these guys are cleared by the prison doctor saying they fit to work, they're forced to work. If they don't, they'll be They threaten them with punishment, meaning solitary confinement, time in the box. You either sit in that box or you go out there and work your ass. You're getting paid, boy. I don't know what this sounds like to you, but to me, it sounds like slavery. It was a judge that got arrested because she was convicting young black boys to prison for large amounts. Like the convictions wasn't fitting the crimes, like a fight, 20 years. She was getting paid by a business to send black boys to prison, to a certain prison, because it was a way that it was like a couple of people who was in, and she was getting paid to send black kids to prison so she can make money, and the jail could make money, and the companies can make money. They make everything from jeans to corn to any fucking. They make everything. People think they only make license plates. They make most of the stuff you wear. Most of the labor in America comes from prison. That is sad. So scores of recent free slaves and their descendants now labor to generate revenue for the state under a Jim Crow regime. More than a century later, our prison system has only grown. So nothing changed about all them slaves, the once slaves that was now in prison. Only thing that happened was it grown. It got bigger. We now incarcerate more than 2.2 million people. With the largest prison population in the world, and the second highest incarceration rate per capita. Our prison population remains racially screwed. With few exceptions, inmates are required to work if cleared by medical professionals at a prison. You hear this? What else? We treat people in prison less than human. So not only do we throw them in there and we tell them to work for all these companies that make billions off your back, we treat them like animals on top of that. Like, I know people that know people that know people in jail. So don't act like this is not you or your family or your cousin or your uncle or your friend's mother. Like, don't act like it. So most of the companies that buy prisons or invest in prisons are profit businesses. So these are not businesses that's giving back to the community. These are money. This is all for profit. So it's mining. They have prisons mining. They have cropping. And everything, all parts of manufacturing. They even make things for the military. They make weapons for the military in prison. And they can't even get jobs when they get out. And some prisoners, when you call centers, are the people you talk to on the phone. Isn't that crazy? Hey, I'm Verizon. I'm just calling to check my phone out. Hi, this is inmate 54321. I sold a dime bag. Now I'm in jail for 20 years. Like, given the scope and scale of the prison labor in the modern era, one could reasonably believe that it is modern day slavery, or cheap labor as we like to call it. So despite all these labor laws that happen, like child labor laws, all these laws that happen over the last 100 years, guess who doesn't get those rights? Incarcerated workers, if you want to call them that. Just because we can't call them employees because they're not employees. If you're an employee, you get protection. If you don't, you go to court. You get a lawyer. You fix all that. Incarcerated workers are not expressly excluded from the definition of employee and worker protection status like the Fair Labor Standards Act or the National Labor Relations Act. However, incarcerated workers have sued their prison employees and enforced minimum wage laws. Didn't happen. Courts have ruled that the relationship between the penitentiary and the inmate workers is not primarily economics. Thus, the worker is not protected under the status. The judges see relationships between prisons and incarcerated workers to be a primarily social, or like, yeah, it's not that serious. The court has placed wages and working condition protections out of reach for incarcerated workers. So hey, you're not a person anymore. You're an animal now. You're in jail. Let the jails do what they want. Incarcerated persons, or like the 13th Amendment says, duly convicted, lack a constitutional right to be free or the ability not to be forced into servitude. Further, this forced labor is not checked by many or anyone. So these people are just in there and they're just being worked like a mule and no one's even checking on them. It's just really sad to me. And a warden had to say, meaningful works help make prisoners have self-esteem and self-worth and a sense that one's existence on earth matters. These workers are vulnerable. I'm sorry to laugh, but the warden was out of line. These workers are vulnerable to the kind of workplace exploitation that America has otherwise deemed inhumane. We don't even treat animals like this. Like dogs, we don't treat dogs like, let a dog get worked too hard. It's a video on Facebook that got millions of views of an elephant getting beat. Like, oh my God. Elephants' life matters, but so does humans. Like, come on, people. And another thing is they said that they don't want to talk about prison because it's about a fairness concern. Why should prisoners sit with idle hands when the rest of us must work to put a roof over our head and food in our bellies? Perhaps the low to no wage paid to incarcerated workers are a form of paying garnishment as a sort of compensation for the cost of room and board. Yet, those costs are not fairly calculated. The American criminal justice system is rife with fees that shift the financial burden of incarcerated to the change and convicted and their families. Like the company store is an isolated mining town which overcharges workers of old prisons are left open to similar form of expectation. So we said this is a good thing for them to work for their room and board, but they're making people rich and their room and board is not that much. And then some people may say, regardless of their harsh nature, prison labor is simply a matter of just, they deserve it. Don't workers behind bars deserve less? Why do they deserve equal treatment? After all, they're murderers. They're murderers and criminals of all matters, sinners and deviants. Your dad is deviant, dude. Your dad is a deviant. People who do not behave like decent human beings do not merit being treated like a decent human being. There's much to say on this. This is sort of an eye for an eye philosophy, which how far has that got us in the last 100 years? And what about all those white people who whipped them slaves' ass? What about their eye for eye, huh? Yeah. What about the mental ill patients, prisoners? What about the illiterate? What about illiteracy? What about poverty? What about drug addiction? Most of these people are the people in jail. It's not the murders and the sexual deviants that are in there. So what about them people? So now you're a drug addict, you're in jail, you're not a drug addict anymore. Do you still suffer? Because more than half the inmates in prison in the United States are suffering from mental illness of some kind. And I could tell that from just working because half the people I know is fucking crazy. The risk factors are social welfare and public health issues. That's the real issue. America makes a choice to respond to the outcome with the penal system. But are there other ways? Are there other ways? That's what I asked of you. I asked, do you think there's other ways to create labor? Because it just seems like slavery never ended. They just put people in jail. And they sold into people's mind that everyone in jail deserves to be in jail because they did something wrong. But a lot of people are sitting in jail just waiting for their trial. There's people that are sitting in jail waiting to get deported that is working. It's like America made everything about money. And now you can't even sit in jail and get punished because now you're a slave. And now it was cheaper to do this. Like, I just don't get it. I watched this documentary about people breaking it. It's like people who go to prison. It's on A&E. And they go to prison and they stay there for a while. And then It's like to get information about the inmates. Not every inmate was nice, but most of the inmates are nice people. One of them was a Marine. One of them was a doctor. It was just like all these random people. It's crazy. When I saw this picture, I'm gonna put it as I think the main picture of the video. The camera zoomed out and it just pans over a field of black bodies bent and worked in survey by guards on horses with guns. The picture that emerges is one of slavery. That's what I see. And is this justice? Or is this system riddled with racial oppression? Is it one private business taking advantage of these disenfranchised, vulnerable workers? Is it one of an entire cast of men relegated, as they have long been relegated, to labor for free? Condemned to sow. They condemn into a world where others may reap. It's just fucking sad. I hope I made sense. This video's not long. I didn't mean to make this long. Let me go. I'm talking too much, okay? Bye, guys. I hope I made sense.